this day we gather because for many days we had hoped. We had hoped that Lorraine would be with us for many more days, more weeks, more months, and more years to come. We had hoped that although she had already given the world so much, that she would receive the opportunity to give us far more. We had hoped that she would have cancer removed from her body. Students and staff, we had hoped. Faculty and administrators, we had hoped. Alumni and friends from around the world, we had hoped. We had hoped that we would not need to be here. Yet today we are here, and we're surrounded with disbelief, heartbreak, and uncertainty. For the fact of the matter is that there are few things more painful than this. To lose a loved one brings with it much sadness. And to lose a loved one much too early brings with it an added measure of despair. And such is our collective condition today. For not only was Lorena Branham so dearly loved, but clearly she died far too young. And today, while it may be tempting to seek the right words, to somehow try and rid ourselves of this agony, and while it may be enticing to rush quickly in an attempt to remove our hurt, perhaps the next step as a community is not to try and make our pain go away, but perhaps our immediate task is to simply commit to being together. Perhaps our task is to grieve together and lean into our sorrow together. Perhaps our task is to mourn this loss together, surround this family together, and receive the freedom to feel whatever it is that we wish to feel in this moment together. Students, staff, faculty, administrators, friends, perhaps our task is simply to be together. And in being together, we can promise to each other that we will keep journeying the road to healing together. So thank you for being here together. Lorraine was so much to so many. So we will use these next minutes as an act of remembrance, to honor her life, and to begin one moment at a time to move forward in our own. And as we do, we will trust that she will be with us. She too will be with us this day and always. Thank you for being here. God bless you.
Thank you, Dean Branham, and thank you, Newhouse School, and thank you everyone who's here today. It is difficult to stand up here, but when I heard the news yesterday, my first instinct was we need to gather together somehow, and as quickly as we possibly could. And so we had an opportunity yesterday afternoon, very quickly, to meet with our faculty and staff who were available at a particular point in time. And that wasn't the Newhouse family because our students were largely in class. And what I wanted to happen today, and I can see that it has happened, is that I wanted our students to have an opportunity to come together. and I wanted them to come together with our Newhouse family, our Newhouse professors, our Newhouse staff, who are so vital to running the school. What I didn't anticipate, and I'm thrilled about, is that Lorraine's husband Mel is here. So, Mel, please, would you mind just stand? Everybody is not seeing you. So Mel and his family members are here in the front row with Provost Wheatley and Dr. Ruth Chen, and I'm very grateful that you all were able to make it today. I just realized I did not actually introduce myself. And I'm wearing blue because Lorraine always wears orange. So my name's Amy Faulkner. I am the Senior Associate Dean of the Newhouse School and Acting Dean. And we call this Vigil to honor the life and impact of our beloved Dean, Lorraine Branham. I consider myself, in addition to her being my boss, being a great friend. More than a colleague, a great friend. And that is true for so many of us at the Newhouse School. She was more than a boss to us. She is our great friend and mentor, partner in crime, instigator, innovator, jokester. That was Lorraine Branham. So yesterday, obviously, our hearts were very heavy, and if the news seemed sudden, it's because it was. And so the reaction that you see here, looking at the impact of Lorraine Branham, look around you. So we know this, and I think part of why we wanted to gather today and put it together as quickly as we could, and many thanks to our very talented Newhouse staff in doing this, is that sense of community that Lorraine created is why we wanted to get together today. So, students, this is literally a collective hug to all of you, from all of us. And it's not just for the time I'm standing up here, okay? We will need to support each other, and I know we will all do that, but we want you to feel that as well. Lorraine loved you. Students meant the most to her. Okay? She ran a school and has faculty and has staff and adores all of them, but students are the reason you get into this business, right? And so those of you who had the good fortune to meet her, whether you were a prospective student, or you didn't meet her until graduation, or you came into her office and said, I don't know what to do, I'm pretty sure she gave you an answer. Because she was a great mentor. And so her role was always to say, I think you can do this, and here's how you're going to do this. And she would lead you. And that is not just a skill, a wonderful talent, a wonderful ability to connect with students and basically improve lives, really. And that's what she did. So I think we've all seen and read what a trailblazer Lorraine was, both certainly in the newspaper industry as a journalist, certainly as an academic dean, a woman of color in those businesses, and running and leading and doing what she did was amazing. And that's why we're feeling the pain we feel today, but we should also feel, frankly, lucky. Lucky to be in her wingspan, really. What an influencer, and what a memory for us to live by. So, I haven't read one word I wrote down. I did read a lot of tweets. They were very heartfelt and entertaining, and there were a number of words that reappeared. Pioneer. Truly a pioneer. There were a lot of words that began with the letter F. That is not a grade, students, but they were funny. Like Lorraine, fighter, frank, funny, fierce. All of those words apply to Lorraine. I think for me, a couple of L's: leadership, laughter. You could not work with Lorena Branham without laughing. I think often her staff thought she and I were crazy. We were meeting and we would just be laughing the whole time. And they're like, what are you two doing in there? So, I mean, you have to have a joy for what you're doing. And she certainly did. And it's just a wonderful mentor for all of us. Our last L for me is love. So, yes, I love Lorraine. I'm proud to say that. I'm proud to have been able to work with her and stand by her side for the last 11 years, as are my colleagues. And she loved you. And that is clear. And she probably told you that herself, but if she didn't, I'm telling you now. You should feel that and feel that in this room. The other thing I want to pass along, I do have orange. We'll explain what to do with those in a minute, but you can see by the pictures up there that Lorraine loved to wear orange, and this is why we have orange ribbon. So it was an easy call. What color ribbon has to be orange? So not everyone can pull off orange successfully. I am one of those people. She could, which is why if you saw more pictures, I will always be in blue and she was always in orange. So we'll explain what to do with your ribbons in a moment, but know that this was a color that she loved and adored and wore very proudly at Syracuse University. So I am going to introduce next Kelsey Davis, who is a senior television, radio, film student. And Kelsey and Lorraine know each other for quite a while, and we really wanted to have a student voice today. And I appreciate you giving her all your attention. It is difficult to stand up here, but she's a wonderful, wonderful student, and I would like to ask her to come up now. So, thank you.
Thank you. I was fortunate enough to know Dean Branham since high school, connected by hometown mentor and board member Angela Robinson, who sends her prayers and cannot be with us today. On Sunday, August 30th, 2015, I was sitting in the Goldstone Auditorium as a freshman and witnessed the bold, black, and brilliant Dean Lorraine Branham welcome the class in 2019. The next day, I sat down in my first COM 107 classroom at 12:45 on Monday morning, and I was one of the only 2 black students in sight. My name is Kelsey Davis, and I'm a student from Atlanta, Georgia, who looked in the mirror for 18 years and never believed that she was worthy enough, talented enough, strong enough, light enough, or educated enough to be initiated into a community of higher, privatized, and privileged education that was as integral, influential, transformational, and distinguished as the SI Newhouse School of Public Communication. Coming into Newhouse as a student of color, I, like many of my fellow peers, was thrilled to know that my next 4 years away from home would be spent underneath the intentional, challenging, and maternal leadership of someone who looked like me. So I hit the ground running, knowing I was responsible for fulfilling a mission and legacy that was much greater than myself. By my sophomore year, my media entrepreneurship endeavors turned into weekly bicoastal freelance projects, but my grades suffered tremendously. And as most of my professors here are very aware of that. So in attempts to flee from my studies, a Newhouse alum, Tiffany Bender, offered me a production assistant position at Kanye Mass Entertainment, a Newhouse family establishment, where in fact my boss's boss, and my boss's boss's boss were all television, radio, and film alum from the Newhouse School. Although externally I was on track, internally I developed insecurities associated with my identities and poor academic capabilities that led me to question my own sense of adequacy and belonging in the Newhouse School. So I expressed to my advisor, Michael Schoonmaker, that I was ready to drop out of school. After countless meetings with faculty and administration, Dean Branham made it very clear that she believed that my poor academic standing was a reflection of my constraints, not of my worth, competence, or value that I would eventually be able to bring back full circle to the Newhouse School and industry at large. Therefore, she ensured that she would find a system within Newhouse's capabilities that resulted in solutions to my constraints of pursuing an entrepreneurial path while still operating in an intense academic environment. And she sent me to Sean Brannigan, director of the Digital Media Entrepreneurship Center, which is an expansion that took place underneath Dean Branham's leadership many years ago. Many communication students across the country are experiencing the pressures of a sense of value and a sense of worth, especially as freedoms of the press are jeopardized and job placement rates are continually on the decline. In attempts to solve this problem, I developed my company Collective, which aims to empower the next generation of creatives by developing their skills and connecting them to brands they still love while they're still in undergraduate school. I initially started with a problem that resulted with me wanting to leave, but ended in a solution that will impact the lives of thousands of students like myself due to the vision, leadership, persistence, and commitment of Dean Lorraine Branham. Dean Branham once said, "The world is changing quickly and in sometimes unexpected ways, and we know that tomorrow's leaders will have to be innovative." Yesterday, for many of us, our world changed completely in an unexpected way. Therefore, today's leaders, all of you here, need to remain innovative in your quest to finish what was initially innovated and inspired by my Dean. Today, in celebrating the legacy of Dean Lorraine Branham, is my first true grapple with death. And oddly enough, it's also the first time I truly believe I understand the meaning of legacy. Dean Branham was able to instill her legacy in me by committing to open doors for me in innovative ways, as long as I committed to walk through them forcibly. With my vision clear, my heart pure, and my head held high. As you leave today and head to Newhouse in a few minutes, my challenge for you all is to walk through those doors forever inspired, with a passionate fire ignited inside of you to honor my Dean's legacy and your Dean's legacy. But walking through them with your visions clear, your hearts pure, and your heads held high. Because if you're honored enough to be inside of or influenced by the Newhouse Mafia, then you know that that's what our Dean would want. Thank you guys for being here today.
These orange ribbons will be tied to the trees that rest on the lawn between the Newhouse School and Kraus-Heinz Hall. We found it to be appropriate to tie a little bit of orange in the shadow of the First Amendment. Something for us to hold on to this day. You may have received an orange ribbon on your way in. If you have not, there should be chapel staff out at the main doors here to present one to you. More plans for acts of remembrance are developing, and we'll share those with the campus community as they become known. Before we go, let's have a moment of silence. We give thanks for the life and the love of Lorraine Branham. May she rest in peace and in power.